Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I am going to be reviewing Ennead Volume 3. This is the third entry in a series that I have been reading that was originally a webtoon but is now being published in this comic format, and I believe there are actually multiple versions of this series at this point. So I did read the older teen one and not the mature one because I believe there's also a mature version of this series. Just in case you're wondering which one I read, I did get this from the library, and it makes sense that the library might not be keen to purchase the mature adult version. So we're going to talk about the story thus far and what happens at a high level in Volume 3, as well as my thoughts and comments on the series so far. And as always, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. I love to receive them. So the series thus far focuses on a struggle that took place in Egyptian mythology between the god Seth and the god Horus. So Seth has dethroned Osiris and is currently in charge of Egypt, but his reign is very chaotic. It is full of war, and it is generally perceived to not be a good thing. But now Horus has stepped up to challenge Seth for his throne, for his position, and to maybe restore balance to the kingdom of Egypt. That is the purpose of this conflict that's going on right now. The conflict was called by the Ennead, which is, my understanding is that's the group of gods who are kind of managing this, and there's a series of competitions between Seth and Horus to determine who is going to be in charge. So we have this competition format. Seth and Horus are, they're in this stone boat competition, which kind of mostly took place in Volume 2, but wraps up in Volume 3. And there's a lot of tension and conflict between these two sides because Seth believes that Horus maybe is winning by unfair means, or he's been receiving help that Seth can't stop. Seth is, of course, interested in maintaining his position, but Horus would like to dethrone Seth, and some of the other gods we can see are starting to desire that Horus comes out on top too. Now, there also in Volume 3 starts to be the mixing of, I'm not going to use the word love, even though this was apparently a boys' love comic, because I think lust would be a little bit more accurate of a description. There starts to become the desire aspect that comes out of this. And one of the things that I want to note is that this was not, as far as I can tell, an edition by Mojito, by the person who wrote this series. This is this was actually part of the Egyptian mythology. So some of these sexually charged scenes were part of the original mythology. A lot of this isn't additions from the author, as far as I can tell. Also, in Volume 3, we get to see a little bit more of maybe Seth's reasoning and motive, which I really, really liked. Something I think is very, that I don't like to see in books, is when the bad guy or the antagonist doesn't have any sort of real purpose or reason for doing something other than they want to, which sometimes a little bit of they want to is fine, but understanding that Seth being the bad guy, may also have his own complex motivations or his entanglements with family or things that he's working through as well, just makes him a more well-rounded antagonist to the story. So I did like seeing a little bit more of that. And of course, the art style is really what keeps me here. I love the art style. One of my favorite ones, which I'm going to show, is on page 85. This is one of my favorite scenes. The art is just really fantastic. The series reads really quickly, but you almost want to flip through it a second time just to get a sense of the art. Now I need to be careful because I did read I read the older teen version, so not the mature version, but there are definitely some interesting scenes that I'm not sure I want to put on camera. So the art style is really the part that I enjoy in this series. Now, to the point that maybe you should have a warning if you are reading this series, although if you're reading this series, you're probably aware of it. The series is marked as boys' love, but I'm not, again, to my point, I don't think the author is adding anything. As far as I can tell, this was actually just part of the Egyptian mythology. And this is just a maybe warning, not red flag, but I guess you would say trigger warning for people who don't want this. Egyptian mythology is full of brothers and cousins and sisters who don't see that as an impediment to doing other extracurricular activities, we'll say. And this series is no different between Seth and Horus. And in the older teen version, things are more or less censored, but it's very clear that sexual domination is part of this struggle between the two of them. We'll just say it like that. And there's a struggle between the two of them for sexual domination. And this, as far as, again, my research consists of basically reading through Wikipedia articles on Egyptian mythology, but that is a theme that's in this book, and if that's not something you're interested in seeing or reading about, or if you're thinking about getting this for a kid, maybe it's something you should be aware of. Again, in the older teen version, it was censored enough where it didn't feel crazy, wildly out of my comfort zone, but the theme is definitely more sexually violent than would be acceptable, I think, in modern society. But again, the Mojito, the author of this series, is, as far as I can tell, sticking to it, because a key part in the Egyptian mythology and the struggle between Seth and Horus is a sexual domination aspect, oddly enough. So that is something that played into the struggle. So they have these challenges which are set out by the Ennead, but there seems to be this other piece that is playing out between these two individuals as well. And despite the label of boys love, I don't think love has a lot to do with anything that's going on at this point. Maybe lust, maybe. But that is in the book. So again, this is just fair warning. If you don't like to read that, if you don't want to be exposed to that, this is probably not the series for you. There is another comic. It was just a one-off. It wasn't part of a series, called Pantheon, that still includes themes like this, because that was just part of Egyptian mythology. But in my opinion, it was very quick. It was over in like one panel. So if you're looking for something that maybe is a little tamer or still is accurate to the mythology but isn't quite as explicit, check out Pantheon, because that one kind of summed up all of Egyptian mythology nice and tidily without going too far into the details. This one is definitely maybe a little bit more gratuitous, I would say, and I have to imagine the mature version is as well. So if that's something, I'm just saying all this because there seems to be some surprise in reading other people's reviews of this book. There was some people who were caught off guard that was going to be occurring, so I want to be very clear on what is going to be occurring. But so far I have been enjoying the series. I think Egyptian mythology is fascinating. I personally went through an ancient Egypt obsession phase as a little kid. I'm sure a lot of other people did as well. I can't be the only person who went to the kids section and checked out every ancient Egypt book in the library. So this is just kind of a fun retelling. I like that the characters are fleshed out. I love the art style. The art really puts it over the top, and I think they are beautiful books and beautiful covers. So I am going to continue reading this series. I already have the next 2 books, I think, on hold at the library, so I'm excited to continue to read this series and enjoy it and see how the struggle between Seth and Horus play out. Please let me know what you thought about this book in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.